welcome back to All About That Disney Life. I am Danny B, the girl who is all about that Disney life. The next movie we will be talking about is definitely my all-time favorite Disney movie and Disney princess, The Little Mermaid, which came out in 1989. So let's get to know this amazing cast. Jodie Benson was the voice of Ariel and also the voice of Vanessa, the disguise Ursula chooses when she tries to marry Prince Eric. Christopher Daniel Barnes was Prince Eric. Pat Carroll was Ursula. Kenneth Mars was King Triton. Samuel E. Wright was Sebastian. Jason Marin was Flounder. Buddy Hackett was Scuttle. Patty Edwards was Flotsam and Jetsam. Ben Wright was Grimsby. Renee Auberjonas was Louis. Eddie McClurg was Carlotta. And Will Ryan was Harold, the seahorse. Now we get down to the facts all about the girl so fascinated with the human world. Number 1, the development. The Little Mermaid was originally planned as part of one of Walt Disney's earliest feature films. It was going to be part of a proposed package movie featuring vignettes of Hans Christian Andersen's tales, because that's the writer of the original story. Development for The Little Mermaid started soon after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the late 30s, but it was delayed. We all know why. In 1985, Ron Clements was interested in doing a movie version of The Little Mermaid while he was directing The Great Mouse Detective. Clements found the fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen while he was browsing a bookstore. The story provided a good idea for an animated movie, and it was keen on creating a movie that took place underwater. Clements wrote a 2-page treatment of The Little Mermaid for the studios to consider. However, it got passed because the studio was in development on a sequel to the live-action mermaid comedy Splash, and thought The Little Mermaid was too similar. Number 2, the writing. During the 1980s, while in production, the staff found an original story and visual development work done by Kay Nelson for Disney's proposed 1930s Andersen feature package. Many of the changes made by the staff in the 1930s to the original fairy tale were the same as the changes made by the writers in the 1980s. Clements and Musker wrote a 20-page rough script, getting rid of the mermaid's grandmother and expanding the roles of the Merman King and the Sea Witch. The plans were shelved for a while to focus on Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Oliver and Company. In 1988, The Little Mermaid was the next major Disney release. Number 3, the release. The Little Mermaid was released into theaters on November 17, 1989. It made $6.1 million in its opening weekend. It ranked 3rd place behind Harlem Nights and Look Who's Talking. It earned $84.4 million at the North American box office. When the movie was re-released on November 14, 1997, it was released on the same day as Anastasia. The movie ranked 3rd place behind The Jackal and Starship Troopers, and it made an additional $9.8 million during its first weekend. The re-release brought $27.2 million in additional gross. The movie also brought in $123 million in box office earnings outside the United States and Canada between both releases, for a grand total international box office figure of $235 million. Number 4, awards. Just like for Mary Poppins, the awards and nomination list is a little bit long, so I'm just gonna be saying the awards that the Little Mermaid movie won. So we'll start off with the Academy Awards. Little Mermaid won Best Original Score, and it won for Best Original Song, Under the Sea. Next up, the BMI Film and TV Awards. Little Mermaid won the Film Music Award. Next, the Golden Globes. Little Mermaid won Best Original Score and Best Song, Under the Sea. Next, the Golden Reel Awards. Little Mermaid won for Best Sound Editing for an animated feature. Next, the Golden Screen Awards. It won an award. Next up, the Grammy Awards. The Little Mermaid won for Best Recording for Children, and it won for Best Song Written specifically for a motion picture or for television. That would be Under the Sea. Next up, the Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards. Little Mermaid won for Best Animation. Next up, the Online Film and Television Association Awards. Little Mermaid has been inducted in the Hall of Fame for Motion Picture. Under the Sea was inducted in the Hall of Fame for Songs. Next up, the Satellite Awards. Little Mermaid won for Outstanding Youth DVD. And lastly, the Young Artist Award. Little Mermaid won for Best Family Motion Picture for an Adventure or for Cartoon. Number 5, the Legacy. The Little Mermaid was instrumental in reestablishing feature-length animation as a profitable venture for the Walt Disney Company. It was the second movie produced after Disney began expanding its animated output. It became Disney's first animated major box office and critical hit since The Rescuers. The staff increased from 300 members in 1988 to 2,200 staff members in 1999. The hirings have spread across 3 studios in Burbank, California, Lake Buena Vista in Florida, and Montreuil-Saint-Sandy in France. And Little Mermaid has signaled the reestablishment of the musical film format as a standard for Disney animated movies. Number 6, the ride. We do have a couple of rides at a couple of the Disney parks. We have the Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure at Paradise Gardens Park at Disney California Adventure. And we have Under the Sea, The Journey of the Little Mermaid at Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World. The Little Mermaid ride opened on June 3rd, 2011 at Disney California Adventure. And Under the Sea ride opened on December 6, 2012 at Magic Kingdom. On March 20th, 2014, the one at Disneyland California closed for maintenance. It reopened back up May 10th, 2014 with new updates. The updates included new sea creature figures that were added throughout the ride, and a view of King Triton's castle was also added. The Under the Sea scene was given a black light treatment. Ariel and Prince Eric figures' sculpted hair was replaced with realistic hair in the Kiss the Girl scene and the finale scenes. At Disneyland, the building is modeled after a 20th century aquarium featuring a statue of King Triton on top. The keek passes beneath a series of canopies and into the building. The loading area features a large hand-painted mural depicting the story's major characteristics. The one at Magic Kingdom is different. It features Prince Eric's castle and the surrounding cliffs. Guests enter through a cavern at low tide. Part of the keek includes an interactive scavenger hunt with Scuttle, and the mural in the loading area is also a bit different. Number 7, the Broadway musical. Yes, The Little Mermaid turned into a Broadway musical. The Little Mermaid had a pre-Broadway tryout at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, Ellie Calkins Opera House on July 26, 2007. It ran until September 9th, 2007. The musical began previews on Broadway at the Lunt-Fontanne Theater on November 3rd, 2007. It was temporarily shut down on November 10th, 2007 due to the Broadway stagehand strike, but that ended on November 28th, 2007, and the next show resumed previews the next day. The official opening date was postponed from the previously planned date of December 6, 2007 to January 10th, 2008. Jodie Benson and Pat Carroll attended the opening night ceremony, and the original Broadway production closed on August 30th, 2009 after 50 previews and 685 performances. Number 8, the live show. It was called Voyage of the Little Mermaid. It was a live show attraction at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Disney World. It was a mix of live actors and puppets. It featured effects such as light and laser projections on the auditorium walls and light rain over the audience. The show replaced the previous attraction, Here Come the Muppets, on January 7th, 1992. On March 15th, 2020, it closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was reported that signage for the attraction was removed the following September. Disney said that this was because they were refreshing the sign and the attraction would return. However, the puppets were sold that same month, which confirmed the attraction's closure. Right now, Here Come the Muppets has come back and replaced the Little Mermaid live action show. Number 9, where can we find all these characters? Well, sit back and relax. I've got a list, and like I said, this is going to be a long one. Here we go. We'll start off with Ariel. And we'll start off at Disneyland. In California, Ariel appears during Mickey's Sensational Parade and also takes center stage in her own segment of the Disney California Adventure Nighttime Spectacular World of Color, singing a rendition of Part of Your World that transitions to Sebastian's Under the Sea performance. Next park, Walt Disney World. In animated form, Ariel takes part in Mickey's Filler Magic, where she performs Part of Your World as Donald Duck tries to retrieve the newest addition to her human collection, Mickey Sorcerer Hat. The duck also becomes smitten with the mermaid and her beauty and makes an attempt to kiss her, only to lock lips with the flirtatious electric eel. She can also be seen in her own float of the Festival Fantasy Parade at Magic Kingdom. In Disney's Hollywood Studios, Ariel appears in Voyage of the Little Mermaid and Fantasmic. Ariel serves as the star of the dark ride, The Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure, which can be found at both Disney California Adventure and Magic Kingdom. Ariel makes several appearances throughout the ride, mostly in auto-animatronic form. On the exterior of the Magic Kingdom version, she appears as a figurehead on a shipwrecked ship. In the Keek area of the Magic Kingdom version, guests can help her organize her human treasures. In Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, Ariel assists Sebastian, Merlin the Wizard, and the park guests in stopping Ursula when Hades brings her back to life to assist the underworld ruler in his attempts to take over the Magic Kingdom. Ursula even attempts to disguise herself as Ariel at one point to try to fool Merlin and the guests. Later on, the real Ariel happily congratulates the park guests after Ursula is defeated. Ariel also has her own spell card called Ariel's Bubble Attack. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In the Mermaid Lagoon Theater, Ariel, Flounder, and other sea characters swim freely in this undersea theater in a show featuring dazzling music and dynamic aerial performances. Here, Ariel and her undersea friends stand up to the evil sea witch Ursula in a musical performance of courage and friendship. Next park, Shanghai Disneyland. In Shanghai, Ariel is featured in the Little Mermaid display in Voyage to the Crystal Grotto and during the Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare Castle show. Inside the castle, Ariel appears alongside Sebastian and Flounder in one of the wall carvings displays. Ariel is also promptly featured during the fireworks show Ignite the Dream, where she performs Part of Your World. Next character is Ursula. We'll start off at Disneyland. The Fantasmic, the show debuted in 1992 in California Park, only a few years after The Little Mermaid debuted. Ursula appears in the finale, summoning the powers of the sea to destroy Mickey Mouse, though she herself is ultimately beaten. Originally a 20-foot audio animatronic, Ursula float traveled around her segment in the show on the water, but the air constantly leaked from the blow-up tentacles, and the animatronic as a whole was a maintenance nightmare. So currently the character is only featured via animation projected onto water screens. Next park, Walt Disney World. In Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Ursula appears as an audio animatronic living the same role as the film. After she strikes her deal with Ariel, the rest of her scenes are showcased on a screen where it shows her transforming into Vanessa, becoming a giant, and her death. In Disney's Hollywood Studios version of Fantasmic, Ursula has a much smaller role compared to the original, taking part in the ensemble of villains. At Magic Kingdom, Ursula serves as one of the Fantasyland villains for the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom game, where Hades revives her from her death and recruits her to steal a piece of the crystal of the Magic Kingdom. However, like Maleficent, she plots to double-cross him and take the piece for herself. Once the piece is in her possession, Ursula plots to flood Cinderella Castle and the rest of Magic Kingdom so that she may dominate the park along with the rest of the seas. Like in the movie, she transforms into Vanessa, and she also disguises herself as Ariel at one point in an attempt to deceive Merlin and the guests into aiding her in her goal. She returns during the final battle with Hades. In the end, the park guests defeat Ursula and the other villains by trapping them in the crystal of the Magic Kingdom. Ursula's magical contract can be seen on the attraction Misadventure Falls and Typhoon Lagoon as an Easter egg. While the bottom half of the contract is obscured, it is visible within the archaeological collection of Society of Explorers and Adventurers member Captain Mary Oceaneer aboard her wrecked ship, the MS Salty 4, and has the visible text, "I hereby grant unto Ursula, the Witch of the Sea." Also in Mary's possession of note is the Snarfblatt of Ariel's possession from The Little Mermaid. Ursula is a central character in the annual Halloween-themed fireworks show Hallow Wishes at the Magic Kingdom's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party hard ticket event along with Jafar, Oogie Boogie, and Maleficent. Ursula also appears in the Happily Ever After fireworks at Magic Kingdom, where she transforms to a monstrous size with the Triton at hand during the adversity sequence. Ultimately, Prince Eric manages to defeat her by throwing a spear at her, in which the Ursula scene loops into the Pride Rock scene. A massive sculpture of Ursula is also one of the features of the Little Mermaid's area of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Next park, Tokyo Disney Resort. In the Tokyo Disney Sea version of Fantasmic, Ursula's role is similar to that of California's. During the Halloween season, Ursula makes a live appearance on the Mediterranean Harbors Villains World Show. Next park, Disneyland Paris. In Disney Dreams, Ursula is briefly summoned by Captain Hook to eliminate the living shadow of Peter Pan. She begins to torture it and eventually leads it to the hands of Maleficent. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Ursula makes an appearance during the final scene of the Nightmare Experiment, where she magically alters her size as she did in the movie. Next up, the Disney Cruise Line. Aboard the Disney Dream Ship, Ursula is one of the villains featured in Villains Tonight. Next character, Sebastian. We'll start off at Disneyland. Sebastian appears in the World of Color at Disney's California Adventure. He specifically appears following Ariel's sequence singing Under the Sea. A larger-than-life puppet of Sebastian was also featured in the Carnival of Color and the World of Color pre-show. In Mickey's Sensational Parade, Sebastian is seen riding his chariot of seahorses while waving to the park guests as he did in the opening of the original movie. For the Little Mermaid Ariel's Under the Sea adventure, an audio animatronic version of Sebastian joins the ride's cast of characters from the movie. As planned since the original idea of the attraction in the 1990s, Sebastian appears in the attraction's colossal Under the Sea sequence, conducting dozens of sea creatures dancing to the music. He also appears in the Kiss the Girl sequence, as well as conducting some sea creatures in the finale. Sebastian also appears in Mickey and the Magical Map as a puppet. Additionally, Sebastian makes an appearance on the Little Mermaid's float in the Paint the Night parade, waving to guests. However, unlike the other puppets from the World of Color pre-show, he and Mike Wazowski were not seen in the opening of the parade due to them appearing on the floats inspired by the films. Next park, Walt Disney World. In Fantasmic, Sebastian makes a cameo appearance in the bubble sequence dancing to Under the Sea. In Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Sebastian appears in the opening sequence with Flounder and a band performing the song Under the Sea. Sebastian later reappears in the end, celebrating Ariel and Eric's love for each other. Sebastian is also featured in the interactive game Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. Here, Sebastian is the first to learn that Ursula was restored from her death by Hades and plots to rule the seas and flood the Magic Kingdom. Sebastian guides the park guests on a quest to defeat her alongside Merlin the Wizard in Fantasyland. Next park, Hong Kong Disneyland. Sebastian appears in the castle projection show Momentous, in which he performs Kiss the Girl to the visuals of various Disney couples. Next park, Shanghai Disneyland. Sebastian's likeness can be seen as part of Ariel's wall carving display inside of Enchanted Storybook Castle. A puppet version of Sebastian also appears during Ariel's segment in Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare. Sebastian can also be seen conducting his crustacean band in Voyage to the Crystal Grotto. Next up, the Disney Cruise Line. Sebastian appears as a puppet in the show Wishes, where he performs Kiss the Girl in order to have two of the three leads fall in love. Next characters are Ariel's sisters. We'll start off at King Triton's Concert. King Triton's Concert is a stage show in Tokyo Disney Sea's Mermaid Lagoon Theater. In the show, they appear alongside Ariel and her friends on circular projection screens where they can be seen dancing and singing along to the music. Next up, It's a Small World. Atina and Andrina can be seen in Disneyland and Hong Kong Disneyland versions of It's a Small World. In the California version, they can be seen right as you pass into the tropical area, floating and singing alongside Ariel and Flounder. In the Hong Kong version, they can once again be spotted in the tropical area, right behind Nemo and Dory from Finding Nemo. Andrina can also be seen in the animated series in the episode Tropical Hideaway. Next character, Prince Eric. We'll start off at Disneyland. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, Eric can be seen during the Kiss the Girl sequence and the finale as an audio animatronic. Next park, Walt Disney World. In Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Eric makes an appearance living out the same role as he did in the movie. Eric is seen during a few cutscenes and at the end where he and Ariel celebrate their love. Outside of rides and performances in the parks, Eric has appeared alongside Ariel for meet and greets with guests outside of the ride in Fantasyland during special events such as Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. In Fantasmic, Eric joins Ariel and other Disney couples during the princess-themed medley. He also makes an appearance riding Steamboat Willie during the show's finale. At Tokyo Disney Resort, for meet and greets, Eric can be found at Tokyo Disney Sea's Mermaid Lagoon. At Shanghai Disneyland, Eric is featured throughout Ariel's segment of the castle show, Ignite the Dream. Next character, King Triton. At Disneyland Resort, in The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, King Triton can be seen as an audio animatronic at the end of the ride celebrating Ariel and Eric's wedding. Triton also appears in the Disney California Adventure Parade Paint the Night. At Walt Disney World, for the interactive attraction Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, King Triton has his own spell card known as King Triton's Trident. In Voyage of the Little Mermaid, King Triton makes a vocal appearance at the beginning of the show, confronting Ariel about humans, voiced by Corey Burton. Triton reappears in animation on screen, speaking with Sebastian about letting Ariel go as he did at the end of the original movie. In Magic, Music, and Mayhem, King Triton is called forth by the fairy godmother to join the celebration by bringing the magic of the sea. Triton later battles Captain Hook when he crashes the party. At Disney's Art of Animation Resort, Triton's likeness can be found alongside other Little Mermaid characters as a 35 5-foot-tall statue seen in the Little Mermaid courtyard. Next character is Flounder. We'll start off at Disneyland Resort. Flounder makes an appearance during Ariel's sequence in World of Color in Disney California Adventure. He makes an appearance as an audio animatronic in the Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure in the same park. In Mickey's Sensational Parade, Flounder appears as part of Ariel's float. At Walt Disney World, Flounder appears as a puppet in The Voyage of the Little Mermaid in Disney's Hollywood Studios. He also makes an appearance in Fantasmic's Bubble Montage. Flounder also makes a cameo in CGI form in the show Mickey's Filler Magic. His only line in that show is "cool." The Magic Kingdom, Flounder can be seen alongside Ariel in the Festival of Fantasy Parade. At Shanghai Disneyland, Flounder can be seen in Ariel's display during the Voyage of the Crystal Grotto attraction. He also appears as a puppet in the Golden Fairy Tale Fanfare Castle show during Ariel's segment. Next character, Scuttle. At Walt Disney World, Scuttle is the narrator of The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure. In the Magic Kingdom's version, he hosts an interactive scavenger hunt game in the ride's Keek area, where guests help sort out Ariel's human collection by pointing at objects that don't belong for crabs to collect and take away. At Tokyo Disney Resort, Scuttle also appears at Tokyo Disney Sea as the host of the Scuttle Scooters ride at Mermaid Lagoon. Next character is Max. Max is seen in the last scene of the Voyage of the Little Mermaid stage show in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Max is also featured as a walk-around character for meet and greets, accompanied by Eric and the occasional Chef Louie at Tokyo Disney Sea's Mermaid Lagoon. Next character is Flotsam and Jetsam. We'll start off at Disneyland. In the Disneyland version of Fantasmic, Flotsam and Jetsam were added to the show in 2009, where they joined Ursula in her mission to destroy Mickey Mouse slithering along the rivers of America. They were intended as a replacement for the infamous Ursula animatronic that had been used in the show from 1992 to 1996. They were portrayed using large puppets on jet skis designed by Michael Curry, who has worked on numerous projects with Disney. A 34-foot-long aluminum pontoon frame holds up the water-resistant fabric covering and is capable of pivoting similarly to a toy wooden snake to give it a slithering motion. They are frequently referred to as a Flotsam and Jet Ski by Disney alumni. The duo eventually disappeared for some time due to the fact that the operators couldn't see and would often crash into the show equipment or each other. And in 2017, during the revamp of the show, they were eliminated altogether. At Walt Disney World, in Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, Flotsam and Jetsam are revived from the dead by Hades to assist Ursula in her plot to submerge the Magic Kingdom under the sea for Ursula to control. They are also ordered to help find the Crystal of the Magic Kingdom. They search in a sunken ship where they run into the park guests. They fight the guests but are defeated when the guests' attack causes a cannon to fall on both of them, firing a cannonball down on their heads. They then swim away in pain from the noise and the weight. Flotsam and Jetsam make a brief appearance in the dark ride The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, talking to the riders as they enter Ursula's lair. In Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Flotsam and Jetsam receive a small cameo. At Tokyo Disney Resort, the eels appear in the Tokyo Disney Sea rendition of Fantasmic. During the show, the duo makes an appearance as floats during the section where Ursula talks to taking over Mickey's mind. At Disneyland Paris, in the Mickey and His Magic Halloween Night, Flotsam and Jetsam accompany Ursula during her attack on Sleeping Beauty Castle. At Hong Kong Disneyland, puppets of Flotsam and Jetsam lead Ursula's unit of the Halloween Parade and Castle Show Villains Night Out. And the last character you can see is Chef Louie. At Tokyo Disney Resort, Chef Louie makes occasional appearances as a walk-around character in Tokyo Disney Sea near Mermaid Lagoon. And there you have it, all the facts about The Little Mermaid. If you like this video, please hit that like button and don't forget to comment and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope you have a zippity-doo-dah day. Goodbye.